Sacramento, once known as the city of trees, has now apparently become the self-proclaimed farm-to-fork capital. But who says we have the right to stake that claim? To suss out whether the catchy slogan rings true, or is just a load of marketing hype, I met up with Chris, chef and owner of Localis, the midtown restaurant Zagat recently lauded as a reason for out-of-towners to make the trek to Sac Town.
We're the largest agricultural system in America, let alone like top 3 of the earth. We produce more than anyone else does.
So we've got a ton of farms producing a ton of food. But restaurants in Seattle and Portland have been doing farm-to-table cuisine for years. If Sac's the farm-to-fork capital, then shouldn't we have more restaurants sourcing locally than either of those two cities?
I think the places I eat in Sacramento, I eat because they are like that. But I think broad spectrum, no. I think that we don't use near as much from local ingredients as Portland does right now. I think we're on our way.
Okay, maybe Sacramento jumped the gun on declaring the city King's Landing of the farm-to-fork universe. But Chris is hoping to acclimate Sacramentans to restaurants like Localis, where he says he's doing all he can to put out great food while sourcing local as often as possible.
We don't even claim farm-to-fork at Localis. You won't see us waving that banner. You look at our menu, it doesn't say such and such farms and such and such farms, and that's not because, you know, we don't want people to know where we get our ingredients. We just don't want to shove it down their throat. And I feel like a lot of farm to fork is like, you know, we're doing this, and for us at Localis, it's just more so of, this is how people should cook.
So what are we looking for? I wanted to see how the process works, how a piece of produce makes its way from a farm to my fork, spoon, whatever. So Chris allowed me to tag along with a camera crew when he visited one of his suppliers to pick up ingredients he'd be using for the first course on the tasting menu he was serving later that night.
The whole dish is cucumbers.
The whole dish is
cucumbers? The whole dish is cucumbers. Yeah.
Okay.
There's a little bread in there.
This will be impressive.
Yeah, so there's a blossom, right? People don't eat them. Why not? They're so good.
Wait, I can just eat this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just chow down on this blossom?
Yeah, so good. Tastes like cucumber.
Tastes like a cucumber.
Yeah.
If it's made its way onto Chris's menu, whether it's an octopus from Spain or a girthy Armenian cucumber like this one from Susan and Hank's farm in Rio Linda, you can bet he's been out to see where the food he's using comes from and how it's grown and handled.
I think the harmonious, you know, lifestyle of this kind of farm is what's good for Earth. You know, like what's not good for Earth is 5,000 miles, you know, of one product being grown with, you know, genetically modified, you know, seeds. I'll go through all of the farms and just eat stuff.
Yeah.
How's it taste? Is it delicious or is it not?
Chris's tasting menu makes this farm possible. We had 4 restaurants at one point and we cut back and we were gonna call it quits. And Chris says, no, I want your eggs and whatever else your farm can produce. So to have that outlet for something that we're so passionate about and we get to feed America is a big thing for us.
You said the whole dish tonight is going to be cucumbers, so how many of these are you going to need?
We're using these cucumbers, we're using some cucumbers from Mazola Farm, we're using some sour Mexican gherkins, which are little tiny baby cucumber-ish kind of things from Placer County where I'm from.
Okay.
She has big cucumbers. What do we do with them? Make a gazpacho, you know, make something else. Like, take this outside and compress it into cubes because, you know, you have enough to work with there.
Yeah. To truly cook farm to fork, you've got to be willing to take on whatever a farm's throwing at you, and creative enough to dream up recipes with new and strange ingredients, which should be no sweat for a former death metal musician. Yeah, that's Chris, beating the hell out of a drum kit while on tour with his band Dismal Lapse. That is until he caught a commercial on TV one night for culinary school.
So I went down and applied to culinary school. And that same day I got a job at a little
All
place.
from a commercial?
Commercial, yeah.
So those things really do work.
It really does, yeah. I mean, I was just like, damn. I mean, I remember the day. I remember the commercial. My wife was just like, "Okay, honey, go be a chef."
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, okay. Pickled Armenian cucumbers, some...
Full disclosure, I'm not a food critic, but I've eaten enough grub to know what I like. And I know you're all just dying to see how Chris pulls off an entire dish made with an assortment of cucumbers. Hell, so was I, and since the whole gimmick here is to show you how food really makes it from farm to fork, I had to complete the cycle and dig in.
And that's like pickled cucumber gel.
Ooh, that's interesting, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
I like that.
Then I would cut crouton, and then kind of just scoop everything.
So it's meant to all be eaten together, okay.
Yeah, every individual component should taste delicious.
Wow, that's amazing. And I'm not just saying that because you're standing here.
I get the feeling that I can trust you when you say that.
Despite where you stand on the whole farm-to-fork debate, there's no denying sourcing locally grown food not only benefits the farm supplying it, the chef serving it, and the fork sticking it, but the mouths that are eating it.
I mean, there's already people doing farm-to-fork way before it was a thing. Way before, you know? And there's chefs that have made what Sacramento is right now, which is pretty cool, throughout their whole careers. And now I think it's like change of the guard time, you know? I think now it's time for innovation, and I want to be part of that.